back, beautiful souls, to another video. Channel your light, own your intuitive. Thank you so much for being here with me on this channel, on the planet, co-creating, and all the wonderful magic that each and every one of you bring to the table, bring to this channel, and bring to this life, and bring to other people. So I want to talk about the trees. So the reason why I want to talk about the trees is because that's what's coming through. And again, this has been coming through repeatedly. The messages on repeat are usually the ones that need to be heard, or I am called to share. 3 by 3 I'm hearing. So I want to explain to you how the threes come up first before we channel in the divine guidance and the wisdom that is coming through the trees, specifically the oak and the willow. So 3 by 3. Usually spirit shows up in threes about things for me personally. This may be something that you experience, or you may have started to notice more recently on your journey, the trees. So how did this come about? I continually kept pulling the same card, which is the oak tree, for oracle cards and decks, for those of you who use those. In addition, I went to bed one night, and when I woke up in the morning, I didn't realize it. I pulled the tree card again, the oak tree again in the morning. This was a couple of days ago. And I didn't realize that all of my rings were off of my fingers, and I did not take them off. And this is important because the only ring that was left on my hands was the tree of life. So that was my confirmation and validation when I realized the only ring I'm wearing is the tree of life. And then again, pulled that same card, the oak card. Sign 1, I'm pulling the same card repeatedly. Sign 2, I'm waking up and I only have one ring on my finger, and it's specifically the tree. Sign 3 is, prior to this, I kept having this vision of an oak tree with a weeping willow tree, but they were, I want to say, merged, for lack of a better word. And not merged as in they became the same. They are, in the vision, it is merged in the koeshta. If you close your eyes and see this and feel the energy, you'll be able to see it. There was a giant oak, which was its energy in and of itself whole. And then there is the giant weeping willow, who is whole in its energy in and of itself. And the two come together, melding. But it does not mean that one became the other, or it became like a fluid merging one on top of each other. It just came together, if that makes any sense. So they were merged in the middle, bringing together the wisdom of the oak and the strength of the oak, and the wisdom of the weeping willow, the yin and the yang, I want to say, the strength and the suppleness. The oak is hard, whereas the weeping willow has that supple flowing to it. So that was the image that had come through a couple of days, maybe a week, give or take, on the imagery that came through before the rest of this came out. So the reason why this is important for me on my journey is those threes, when things come in threes and they come in multiple modalities or contexts, but have a similar meaning or message. The only thing I'm wearing is the tree of life. The card I keep pulling is the oak tree. Prior to this, I'm seeing the oak and the willow. For those of you who have not subscribed yet or been onto my website, there's a channel from Grandmother Willow, the weeping willow tree. And that is on my website. If you just click on erinchandler.com, you click on Divine Channels. The trees hold epic wisdom. They always have, they always will. Everything in nature is actually showing us all of the signs and synchronicities, the ways of life, the things that happen, how to deal with them, how to come home, how to understand them, how to be in the world, but not of the world. Nature holds great answers, and a great responsibility comes with those kind of things. So the oak tree, I'm repeatedly told, when I noticed that this was the only ring that was on my finger that day, the tree of life, I was told the trees wish to speak. So we're going to let the trees speak, or rather, I'm just going to let go and receive that guidance and trust that you will know if this message is for you, and if it is not, that is okay too. So the reference of the trees that keeps coming in, the very first thing that I recognized was the reason I was getting the impression of the oak and the willow merging or just melding together just at the seams, still whole in and of each other. There are many, many spiritual unions coming in. I did a channel that's also posted, it was very beginning of January, that there would be many, many spiritual unions on the earth plane coming in 2023 that hold great power and great wisdom. When you take two sides of the coin and you bring them together, there is like a beam of light I'm seeing. It's like the roots grow deeper under the soil and the tree branches are going to grow higher. For some reason, there's somebody I'm hearing you've been waiting for a spiritual union or have been called to a spiritual union, knowing that's what you're doing or knowing that's what you're waiting for, almost like, I want to say. So I'm being told that is coming full circle. The knowing came ahead of the actual physical, tangible 3D form, is what that feels like. And I want to tell you, patience is a virtue. You have been very patient. That is being honored. You are of the trees. You hold the wisdom of the trees, whoever this message is for. You listen to the wind. You walk with, I'm seeing a baby deer, a fawn. You walk with the deer, and specifically baby fawns. So take that as it resonates. It's a very specific validation for somebody, baby deer, or seeing a baby deer in the next couple of days, or you just saw them in the last few days. But the reference to this is, I'm hearing, this is so interesting. I'm hearing holy matrimony is of a spiritual union. It is not necessarily of the union that man has created the box or the limitation around, but rather it is a spiritual union because the universe is spiritual in and of itself. So I want to come back to the trees. That's a very specific message for somebody who is on a, I want to say a twin flame journey. Not everybody's on a twin flame journey and not everyone will resonate with this. And the reason being is because it's not everybody's path. The trees are speaking. The birch does not try to be the oak, and the oak does not say, hey, cedar tree over there, you need to do it like I do it. And that's what makes it right. No, each tree becomes itself based on the thing that it was supposed to grow into. It has no need to tell the other that it should be something different because it knows that the birch is the one that will replenish after the fire, and the oak is the one that will stand within the storms, and the willow is the one who will dip down into the purification of the water and spread her roots wide and far. Each serves a very specific purpose, and one does not look to the other and say you should be different. One does not look to the other and say I am only right if I look at you and you're the same as me. So which begs the question I'm being told, which is a very important question. Sometimes when we are on a spiritual journey and when we're in life, sometimes we're listening to be proven that we're right. I'm listening to hear the things that confirm that I'm right, because that's how I feel safe and that's how I understand things. And other times we're listening to understand in a more expansive way. So it's almost like if I can listen to neither be right nor to be wrong, but to understand, it almost makes it easier for me to, one of two things will happen. I will either get information that clearly moves me deeper into my own purpose and my own unique path and who I am, or it will expand me into a whole other view of thinking and expanding me beyond what I thought to be true in that moment. Spiritual evolution and the goals that we have, they evolve and we change over time and we unfold. That is the process of evolution. The tree that is in the third ring of its life, the third year of its life, in the inner landscape, does not say, I know exactly what my 12th ring is going to look like. The third ring has no idea. It moves into the fourth ring and the fifth ring and the sixth ring and the seventh ring. And only when it comes to the 12th ring can it look back into its inner scape of the third ring and say, I understand that piece of my journey. I know why I was there and why I did what I did. And I know why that step is important. So there are trees who have 52, I keep hearing 52 rings upon the cusp of the 53rd. And there are trees that are on the 13th ring. I don't know why, but 13 is also important. The number 13 is going to be extremely important on the world landscape. And it's not clear to me why that is or what the significance is at this point in time. I'm just being shown the number 13. So for some, it is a validation. For others, it is an omen. For others, it is future based or something you're about to come across. Everyone's will be slightly different because we're all on a different journey. Me speaking, I don't need to be right for you, and you don't need to be right for me. That is the beauty of it. And sometimes we are called neither to prove someone is right or wrong, but rather to come home. I'm hearing calm down, that very popular song right now. Calm down, calm down. It is neither to be right nor wrong. We don't want to listen to be right, but neither do we want to listen to be wrong. We want to listen to evolve. And that is the wisdom of the trees. Tomorrow cannot yet be known, is what I'm hearing. That's a common quote from somebody that somebody said. Today is the only thing you have right now, and tomorrow is just a dream. The future that is, that will be, it will be, but it cannot be if we do not focus on the present moment. So the dreamers, sometimes we get lost. I say this from my own example. I get lost in the dream of the future. And in the grief journey, I got lost in the sacred reverence and the remembering of the past. We can get stuck in this world, and we can get stuck in that world. But right here is where we hold our most intrinsic power. The tree does not say, I am worried about tomorrow. Nor does it say, I wish I could go back. It says, I simply flow with the cycles because I know that tomorrow will come. And I know that yesterday holds the seeds, which is the fruits of my labor for today. Trees hold profound wisdom. There are many messages that come through. For those of you, the trees who have had the wasps that have been nesting in them, the mites that have grown underneath your skin, the ones who have had the nests of birds resting in your trees, or perhaps another tree has grown so tall above you that it overshadowed you and you could not find your sunshine. Perhaps there are trees that are low into the ground, and then there are those that are slim and are tall. But each tree, each thing, I'm hearing the flowers that grow at your roots. There are mushrooms that grow off of your being. Each holds a purpose, even the mite that has grown underneath your skin that cracks your bark, the deformed branch that's low to the ground, and the beautiful branch that is high and touching the sky. Each is a part of the intrinsic nature of all that is. Each tree, each message, each thing that you hold space for within your tree, and I'm hearing string. There's like a string. They're showing me going underneath the roots. There's a reason why the roots are so important. The root is the reason. The root is the reason. Without the roots growing depth, how can one grow high? For if one grows high and it has no root system, surely it will fall when the storm comes, when the wind comes. The trees do not just weather the storms of Mother Nature, but she also weathers the storms of its animals, of the cycles of life of bacteria, of viruses, of all of the nature, the evolution, the decay. They're all a part of it. And they're showing me this right now. I'm often shown me as a human being, if we think about the holy trinity of self, the super consciousness, the conscious, and the subconscious. If me here as the being, if I am the trunk and I am the vessel where all of the branches above and the roots below are speaking and they meet in the middle. So the soul star chakra is the tippy top of the branches. That's how I'm hearing it. My Ava's talking tippy top. It's the tippy top of the branches. And the earth star chakra is the very tip of the roots that grow down, that move us into that earthly form. But I, as the trunk in the middle, I am the actual vessel. It is bringing both and the knowledge of both into this physical vessel. That's why we're a human spiritual being having a human experience. That vessel of the trees, to put your hand on a tree, I'm being told to tell somebody this right now. The reason why the trees speak to you and the reason why we feel different when we are in the midst of the forest, of the redwoods, of the great creators' creations that are meant to evolve us and guide us and clear our energy. When you move into a forest, when you move into the trees, you can literally, you can literally put your hands on the tree and their energy moves through your vessel. This is the power and the energy that emanates from the life force energy. They are not taken or destroyed by human beings as us human beings are in consciousness. They're designed to create air, to show us the process of evolution and the steps of it. It's there to show you that the little sapling that is at my roots is just as powerful as the acorn that is about to drop, is just as powerful as the giant leaves that come down. When you move through nature, nature is designed to literally flow through and clear your vessel and speak to you and root you and ground you, but also it clears your energy. That's what I'm seeing. It's like a vortex. The tree's energy field moves through your energy field, clearing the energy, grounding you, rooting you, bringing you into a different aspect of yourself. But there is a deep knowing in the first ring, because nothing comes if there is no first ring. The first ring of the tree is the acorn, which is seeded from the evolution of life, from the oak tree that came before it, and the one that came before that, and the one that came before that. And that baby little oak tree, it springs up and it says, it has excitement for life. It's joy, it's happy, it has all this beautiful innocence and this exuberance. And as we grow through each of the rings and as it roots and creates its foundation, the energy that surrounds it, its circumstances that it is planted in, is what directly affects it. It affects its growth. It tells you where it is and where it is going. The tree does not say, I do not wish to be rooted here. It simply acclimates to its surroundings because it has to. In order to thrive, it has to. Not all trees will thrive. Some trees are meant to be there just for a moment, just for 10 years, just for 2 years, not so that it may grow to be the most giant oak in the forest, but so that it may feed the growth of the one that is to be the most giant oak in the forest. And the giant oak, as it grows, looks down and sees this. It does not say to the little oak that was only there for a moment or touched its roots for a moment, it does not say, I am bigger than you. It says, thank you. Thank you for providing the nourishment that I would need. Thank you for showing me the beauty of your coming and going. Thank you for being that powerful nourishment and root. It's nourishment. Everything is nourishment. Everyone is nourishment. I'm hearing the trees hold deep gratitude for all that is. That is why they house the nests of the eagle. That is why the ants come into them. That is why the animals burrow down into the root system. It is why the worm underneath the surface is feeding it. And the water and the rain that drips down. There is no piece and no part of the journey that cannot be used to feed and to nourish. And while one may feel like it's burrowing under the skin and creating a hole, that hole actually will allow the sunlight to come in more deeply, because I have a branch over here that I am meant to grow, because there is a little cedar that will need me in a few years' time. It's the full circle. It's the trees. It's the life. It's being at peace in the moment that you are in and the place that you are at, and saying it's okay that I'm a little sapling, and it's okay that that's an oak over there, because the little sapling so too leans on the oak. Both and. The oak cannot be the oak without the sapling, and the sapling cannot give nourishment without the leaning of the oak. It's both and. All that moves throughout. The water does not say to the oak, you must be like me to be right. And sometimes I'm being told very clearly, sometimes on our journeys, we are not called to have all the answers. We're not called to know everything. We know what we need to know for that step of the journey. And this knowing is going to be different than that knowing. But there's something intrinsically, innately in each little piece of knowing that feeds the root system and is all coming down from the divine, the 7 billion facets of all that was and ever will be in that moment for each of us. In the ko'or is just being. The trees say, I do not think about tomorrow's breath, and I do not look back at yesterday's. I simply breathe. And as I breathe, there is an innate faith and trust in knowing that tomorrow all will be well, and tomorrow will come. Whether I have died or this piece of me has decayed, tomorrow will always come. The sun will always rise, even when you cannot see it, and the sun will always set, even if you cannot see it. And so too shall that circle continue on. It is all intrinsically one. And some can see that and they see what has happened past and what is coming in the future. And some are simply there to hold the space for the present moment. Both and one is actually validating for the other. It's the micro and the macro. The micro informs the macro, and the macro, so too, informs the micro. They move in an evolutionary process. So as things and towers fall and things decay, and as we come into more knowings about ourselves and more knowings about things around us, we're not called to follow what is right based on somebody else's expansiveness. We're called to either deepen our knowing or expand it to a greater knowing. Both, says my daughter Ava, both and. They both happen. She says that if you think about it, Mummy, when you come into somebody who offers you a deep wisdom and a knowing, whether it's come from past, present, or future, that deep knowing either settles into your bones and cultivates a deeper faith in who you are. It strengthens your vitality. It brings you closer to that which you are. Even if what you're hearing is not in alignment with what you're saying, that's what it can do. Deepen your faith and cultivate your knowing in your truth, what is right for you. Sometimes a person shows up to offer you a completely different point of view in order to deepen your faith in what you're doing. She says, so too, Mummy, do people come with a completely different perspective in order to expand you deeper, further, higher, a wider breadth, expanding you into that as well. Both and are true. One is neither right or wrong. People don't show up to say you're right or you're wrong. She says that's a dichotomy. We're often looking in this world. We've been conditioned to think that if I'm right, that means I'm safe and I'm doing it right, or my belief is right. But there are 7 billion different beliefs. And even if 5 million follow one belief, within that one belief, those 5 million people technically have different responsibilities, different views, different ideas, and different concepts. And the universe is designed, it's intricately like a web, just as the trees below the surface. All of our roots are connected, and my roots speak to your roots. They're showing me somebody walking through the forest. You are walking through the forest, and it's literally your foot. It's like I'm watching the energy, your footprint on the earth plane, in the your footprint. This is very emotional. Your footprint on the earth plane. I'm watching you step, and it's like the entire ground around you shoots out with the energetic light. And as you continue walking, I can see your footprints that you have already walked, but I cannot yet see the footprints that you have walked. That is a space you need to be in. I'm being told, create not because you know what the outcome is going to be or you see the goal ahead of you. Create for the purpose of creating. That is your most powerful stance because you have released the goal. Sometimes we need a goal to work towards, but there are those of us who are on this journey who simply need to create and let go of where we think it needs to go, because the earth plane holds great treasures for you when you walk in that way. That is not everybody's message. Some of you are very goal oriented and you need that, and we all do. Sometimes we take a path where we need the goal, and sometimes we need to create simply for the purpose of creating. And it doesn't have to be, for a goal or an outcome. It's like I'm watching you. I see how your footsteps are leaving an indelible mark on the earth plane, on consciousness, in the energy of the roots of the trees. And although your tree is here, I'm seeing the earth. I'm outside the earth now. I'm seeing the earth plane, and I'm seeing this beautiful tree standing above it, watching it. And its roots feeding the entire earth system, and all the oceans are feeding it. It's all interconnected to every tree that ever was along the time-space continuum, or the hologram of consciousness, or the past, the present, and the future. It is all one. At one point, it is all one. And yet, if we spread it out, I'm seeing little dots of gold spread along the earth plane where the ocean meets the land. It's like those are being ignited and united at the same time. And it's very powerful as the earth plane and Mother Earth shifts and changes and groans and moves and births. All of those things are all literally for the evolution of human beings. We're all evolving. It's both scary and exciting, and it can have sadness. That's the surrender. That's why Archangel Zadkiel came in the previous channel. If you haven't watched that, you may want to. It is not the same journey for everyone. Cultivate a knowing of what is for you and what isn't for you. And it's okay if it's for someone, but not for you. And it's okay if it is for you, but not for the other person. That's okay too, because we all have a different piece of consciousness, the wisdom of the trees. There's so many other things coming through with this. There is lots more wisdom that the trees have to share. And this is only just a tidbit, a snapshot, a moment of those things. There's almost like a calling, like if you're called to the forest, be in the forest. If you're called to the water's edge, go to the water's edge. If you're called to things that you don't know why you're called to investigate or look into that, please do that. Everything will speak to you, and what is for you will not go past you, is what I'm hearing. So I hope that this has helped. Thank you so much for joining me on here. When you like, share, and subscribe, when you watch these videos, it's an energetic exchange. So sometimes the things that I'm channeling through is because you are here. So it's because of you the information comes through, in essence. And because I'm willing to be a channel to allow that to come through, because we're all on this crazy journey called life, and we all have different experiences, and we all have different emotions and different feelings and different viewpoints. And sometimes it's just nice to hear something that brings us peace, that settles into our heart space, that lets us know everything's gonna be all right, that lets us know that everything is gonna be all right. In the kosh, that lets us know that we're okay. We're okay in this crazy journey, and that it's gonna be okay. Sometimes we just need to be witnessed, that too, or heard, seen, and felt. Sometimes that's the most powerful piece. I hope this video resonated for you in some way, shape, or form. If it did, please let me know in the comments. And I'm wishing you nothing but peace, love, light, joy.